Namaste, Jai Bharat. Sometimes, perhaps many times, truth is very stranger than fiction. The thing that we do not know are so much that we should be we should feel hesitant to say that we know something because we don't know anything. Absolutely, as you try to understand and know things more, we realize that we don't know anything at all. Recently happened to hear some news articles and discussions about the Giza pyramid. Now, we normally understand pyramids are tombs for some pharaohs, etc. But in this, of course, it was never permitted to go for any kind of excavation on what is a beneath pyramid. Now, it's not very logical to see such massive structure standing without shaking. Without shaking, on sand dune, loose sand-filled area, such things can't just stand perfectly intact. So many people have thought that what's the kind of foundation of these pyramids? But then they were always denied permission to go for any kind of experiment or excavations. Of course, that made sense. That made sense in the sense that we do not know how they stand. If you go for a physical kind of excavations in the conventional sense to the bottom of pyramid, then that would destroy the structure. That's a logical possibility. So naturally they would deny. That's fine. But then things started unfolding when someone tried to use the radar technologies to understand the base structure of a pyramid, especially Giza pyramid. Now radars, conventional radars, are working on the principle of reflection. That's they generate electromagnetic waves and send them as pulses. You cannot continuously send electromagnetic waves because you can't receive if you continuously send. So the radars creating pulses, they create pulses of radar electromagnetic waves and transmit them maybe for microseconds to point c microseconds. I'm talking about old technology which I was taught while in the Air Force. It's been sent and then it travels at the speed of light. Electromagnetic energy is supposed to be traveling at the speed of light. It travels, then gets reflected, then the same antenna receives the reflected signal and then processed to get the image. Of course, for the defense radars, we don't care about image. We just want we want moving targets. That's it. So that's a different. But then same technology, which was invented way back, long before, along with the World War, most likely, has undergone. Science has advanced so much from that time, and it has undergone revolutionary changes. So, such radar signals, it's sending electromagnetic waves, getting there. It must have been improved a lot. And then with the modern sophisticated equipments, you can recreate electronically the real image, as though you're taking photographs. That is quite possible. Science can do. It's nothing amazing, nothing unusual, nothing amazing. It's a normal kind of process. So what they found is absolutely striking, strange. First of all, they found at the bottom hollow structures, spiral pillars running to hundreds of meters down, huge structures. Now, what is this? So the conclusion is, this video is very short, so I can't explain beyond the point. So let me say, they are actually supposed to be power generating houses. Now talk about Tesla, which is much modern. Tesla talks about generating power and transmitting it sans wire without using cables, wires. You can transmit electromagnetic energy, of course, from point to point through space, through air, through anywhere. Similarly, electricity can also be transmitted. You don't need to use wires or cables for receiving electricity at your home. So that technology they are talking about. So similar thing, was it powerhouses apparently which generates electricity? Now I don't know for what, but that suits into the concept of a powerhouse that generates electricity from the vibrations of Earth, where Earth is treated as a huge generator which creates electricity, power, whatever kinds of power you want. It's a power creating thing, and that power is created through maybe the subtle movements happening within. Now that the geologist would explain better. Happening within the earth, and that is captured and processed, amplified, transmitted to various places without using wire. This is the most plausible explanation that we get from the understanding the structure of pyramid through the radar imaging, which they did from space. So there was no permission required to go physically excavate. Of course, the physical excavating would, of course, could destroy the structure, but then the structure had been standing for many years. Now, this, of course, why? Who needed such kind of power, and for what they were using such kind of power? We don't know. If you dare speculate, you could make mistakes. But then there are some logical possibilities that I would like to speak of. Look at Bharat. We have so many deities. We treat them as gods, goddesses. And most of them, differ from human beings, though look like human beings. 4 hands, different appearances. They're not really human, they're beyond human. That's how we come to understand them. We call them as gods, goddesses. Look at Shankar Bhagavan. You wouldn't have the courage to say he's human. You call him as Shankar Bhagavan, one of the Murtis, Sankhara Murti. Look at Vinayaka, Ganesha. Totally strange. Why? How could they conceive all those things in the past? Look at many such deities. There is this Jambavan in Ramayana. Look at this many such deities which are present. Of course, the temple walls are full of such structures. They are present to you. Now, this is one thing. They are not really humans. Then, second, look at the structures created on Bharat. The temples. Impossible technology. Kailasnath temple is just one. Impossible technology. You don't understand how they have created even with all kinds of so-called modern updated knowledge. You think you know everything. What kind of technology they must have? How did they create? That's it. Forget about technology. Let's not be too scientific. Let's ask common man's question. How did they create this? Let's ask common man's question. How did they create it? How these things were made? We don't know. We don't have an answer. But these things were made. They're there in front of you. Go, touch, feel. How did Somnath had a levitating Shivalinga? Somanatha is that. And those people from the locality, the Brahmins especially, they have a title, Sompujis. I have a friend at the university. I think he's from psychology. Yeah, he's a professor. I used to tease him, Sompuri Brahmins. So, Somanatha temple. Look at such marvels in Bharat. Not one, not two. How many? You don't know. You haven't finished counting them yet. How these things were made. How look at our deities. Look at Hanumanji's plight. from Bharat Sri Lanka. How did he go? And when Lakshman was knocked down with the I think Meghnad, whose Astra, Hanumanji took an entire hill of Mrita Sanjeevani and brought it. These things, if put them together, they would make sense. Don't treat them as myth like most idiots do. There are some idiots in their modern intoxication say these are myths. There is some politician back in South, I think in Kerala, who says Vinayaka is a myth. Yeah, it's a myth for him because his mind is mythically subaltern. You can't understand. So leave that thing. So how these things are made, and look at the Pandavas. Go through the story. Go through the Pandavas. The 5 of them are children of 5 deities. The possibility of another civilization interacting with humans is what I am trying to take you to. 5 different deities. They are not humans, but then they have children in a home and woman, and they have strange powers. Bhimasena himself, Dharmaputra, and the children of Ashwini Devas. They have some different capabilities, different abilities. So, the possibility is that the question that one can ask oneself, can't get an answer at all, but you can ask this question to yourselves. Is it likely that there were civilizations elsewhere in the cosmos we have not yet found, maybe still far from our reach? There are civilizations. We are not the only ones in the cosmos, likely. There were civilizations, and they were interacting with us. We have more interactions because those days Bharat was the cradle of civilization and knowledge. Look at the knowledge that we have acquired those days with no so-called modern scientific instruments which would enhance the abilities of your sense organs. What is the transsensory perception? What is yoga? Seeing without eyes, hearing without ears, smelling without nose, etc., etc., etc. You're going beyond the sense organs to know directly. All our knowledge is based that. Where they know in connection with another kind of civilizational people who could possibly be coming from a farther civilization. There are many examples of space shuttles. Many carvings are there. Possibly they were people. You call them as aliens in a common language. Let's not call them as aliens. They are one of the existential groups in the cosmos who you don't understand. And look at the Pandavas. 5 children belong to 5 different deities with 5 distinct abilities. And who is Bhagavan Sri Krishna? He is not a humanoid in all his sense. How could he live more than 100 years? 100 years plus he was the king of Dwaraka. And look at what is the Sudarshan Chakra. Look at the blessings people obtain from these extraterrestrials, we call Pashupatastra, Brahmastra, Agnayastra, Varunastra. These are the weapons they obtain from such deities with their such skills and abilities. On the one hand, we have texts written. On the other hand, we have got examples carved on stones, hard granites, and we have texts we have written. We have some narrations. Now, many times since it is in poetry, there is a poetical rhetoric. You can't dig and understand. And look at the Rig Veda. Look at the Rig Veda and the Veda Upanishadic knowledge tradition. it appears that it's not created by human beings like us. Superhuman beings, let us at least say plainly, superhuman beings. And superhuman beings, from where they get this superpower or superior aspect of existence? From superior beings. And there are evidences they interacting with these people. Superior beings. Who are these avatars? Who are these? And what is the story of Kurma Avatara? You just find out the story behind it. The concept of the concept of chronology and time. When you look at all these things, there's a strong possibility that there were people outside our not knowing space, and they were interacting with us. And many times they had children from humans who were more powerful human beings. Kadotkacha. And many such cases in front of you, So, the Giza pyramid story of creating power is not strange. Look at Bharat, we have such narratives. And look at Shankaracharya. He lived only up to 32 years. But look what he wrote. At the age of 8 plus, he simply stood and recited Nirvana Shataka. Manobuddhya Hankara Chittanidaham to his teacher Govinda Bhagavatpada. This is not humanly possible. To write so many things within 32 years of life. Sound the Lahiri. This is not humanly possible. And the Vedas themselves are not humanly possible. To write in such figures, to produce such knowledge. Shankaracharya is just one example that came to mind. My mind instantly, because we are otherwise emotionally connected to Shankaracharya, and he is much recent. And look at the many yogis. They speak about the yogi in Himalayas and Kriya Yoga and his tradition. Baba, his student, Shyam Charan Lahiri, Yukteshwar, etc. So many names. These things are not clear to us. But these things are there with us, among us. So it's quite possible that there are knowledge people are outside our knowledge, our knowing world. They used knowledge for different things. For good also, for bad also, most likely. So the Giza pyramid exposition should not be taken as an isolated phenomenon. You should, if one really wants to go on understanding, to some extent, take help from the existing Bharatiya evidences, which are carved in granite and kept and preserved in Bharat. Preserved is they are a part of our temples. They'll be there, they are there. Apart from the Mughals' destruction of our ornaments, so they are great people. With such minds, they destroy what people have created through ages. They easily destroyed. Aurangzeb, who tried his best to destroy Kailasnath's temple at Ellora, could not completely succeed. He could only damage the murtis, but not the temple. But nonetheless, they try. They are great people, I'll tell you definitely. So we shall meet again with some other thought. Till then, it's Namaste. Jai Bharat, Jai Siya Ram.